Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hadeen, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in the always sunny Mesa, Arizona. With me this week is Daniel Moscovitch, the owner of Flooring Pros Marketing, where he deals with website creation and search engine optimization. I put a post out, I don't know, like a month ago, 6 weeks ago, something like that, on the Floor Academy Facebook group where we always have great discussions. And I said, what's the point of your website? And I've gotten some very interesting responses. There's people in 2023 that don't have websites for their businesses. There's people that want to know what the point of their website is. Generating qualified leads, look professional. It's an online placeholder. Add credibility, to remember my work. Somebody that says it's quite useless and I've never gotten a single client through it. Exposure. Websites are old news. Everything's social media these days. We ran the gamut on responses. So we're going to talk with Daniel and find out why we should have a website and what it should be doing for us. Is it an online placeholder? Is it just a way to claim a little bit of real estate in that metaverse? Or is it a sales assistant and it should be helping you close leads and doing sales for you? We're going to find out. Before we get started, make sure you head over to flooracademypod.com, check out our website, go to the shop, pick up a hoodie, a t-shirt, go to the file section, pick up that business budget calculator so that you can find out the numbers that you actually need to be running so that you can run a profitable business. You can help support the show with patreon.com/Floor Academy. This show is designed to have the conversations on that back end of the business, not the skill side of contracting, but that back end business side, so that you can go from owning a job to owning an asset, have something that generates you a profit. You can build something that you can step away from, have a team, let it run itself, and you free up more time. Because honestly, we all started businesses so that we could have more free time, and yet most of us end up with way less time, and that's not cool. So let's learn how to do it. That's what we're here for. Little love to the sponsors. Johns Manville International Services Event. We'll jump in a little later with a quick ad for them. And make sure you subscribe. Go out on your favorite listening app of choice for podcasts. Subscribe and go over onto the YouTube. Trying to grow that. We're up to 145 subscribers. I need 1,000 folks. I need 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and 4,000 watch hours, and then it gets monetized. So I got 145. That's 855 to go. Tell your friends. I don't care. They don't have to be flooring contractors. Any contractor, in fact, any business owner can listen to this show and get the help they need to help move their business forward. Business is business, folks. The discussions are applicable to any business. You just have to convert it to what you're actually doing. That all being said, Daniel, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it?
Well, it's great to be here with you, Kyle. I'm a big fan of your podcast. As I've told you before, I really, really enjoy the topics that you're talking about and discussing. And as you mentioned, it's applicable to any type of business, not just flooring. So definitely share the podcast, share the love, and get some subscribers up. That would be great. My name's Daniel Moscovitch. I'm the owner of Flooring Pros Marketing. I've been in digital marketing and SEO for about 10 years. We do everything from website development, design, SEO, Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, email automation, and marketing. At the end of the day, those are just tools and things that we use to drive leads and traffic to our clients' business in order for them to help grow and scale to the next level. Mm-hmm. We've worked with companies, not just in flooring, but in many different spaces that have helped them go from a couple trucks on the road to multiple trucks on the road, one physical location to multiple physical locations over time. And why I do what I do, basically being able to facilitate that growth and be like a helping hand in helping businesses who are passionate about what they do, who are really good at what they do, and helping them grow. one thing that I know, and as you know, as a business owner, we can't do it all.
Yes.
If you try to do it all yourself, you're never going to get to where you really wanted to go. As you mentioned in the intro, you want to have more freedom, you want to have more time on your hands, and if you're trying to do everything, you're not going to have that freedom, you're not going to have that time on your hands.
Hmm.
So we try to be that trusted partner to take such an integral part of a business that is lead generation and traffic uh, off of business owners' shoulders, so that they can focus on what they do best, which is install floors, service their clients, train their staff,
Hmm.
anything that they really enjoy. We want to make sure that they can do that, and we can take care of making their phone ring.
Well, I think, look, the key word you hit on for me was partner, right? So I need a partner in a space. I don't need to just hire a company. I think a lot of times people pick up the phone and they call somebody, right? They hire their bookkeeper, they hire their accountant or CPA or their tax person, or they get a lawyer. Like, I'm not looking for just anybody, right? I can pick up the phone and get just anybody. And I think that's what happens. Whereas if I have a partner, it's somebody that I've vetted, I feel good about, our values match, our ideas match. We're openly communicating about where we want this to go and how we want it to work. And that's going to make a difference. Like I said, I think a lot of people that are disappointed with their websites, they saw somebody in an online group or an ad or got a cold call, and they sign up and they get that sweet website deal, and then they never talk to the person again, right? Of course it's not doing anything because you're not working with that person to make your website do anything. The other thing you said was, you've got to go, and you can't do everything in your business, and it's 100% correct. I'm not good at websites. I don't want to be good at websites, but you're good at them and you enjoy them. So if I can take my skill set of what I'm good at, and you take your skill set and what you're good at, and I hire you to do the thing that I don't like and I'm not good at, that's a much better fit. And I don't care what that is in your business, right? If you don't like running the office, hire yourself an office admin and stop doing the paperwork, folks. Like, hire the bookkeeper. Don't do your books. Hire out all the things that you hate and suck at to people that are good at them, and your life will be a lot easier and way more rewarding. So,
Yeah.
where
Amen to that. Yeah,
so
amen to that.
you were in on this post, right? So let's start with this first, like, basic thing. I think I don't have a
Yeah.
website. It's 2023, Daniel. Do I need a website? Like, legitimately, do I need a website?
Yeah, 100%. Whether or not it's a very detailed website with multiple pages, or it's just one or two pages, it really depends on what you're trying to achieve with your website.
Hmm.
But 100%, every business should own that asset. It's an asset they can own. It's an online asset. I mean, you mentioned the word metaverse earlier. That's where we're going. This is an online world. You might own your building, or you might lease it or something like that. You own your tools. A website is an asset for you to own. One of the answers there in that discussion was, oh, I just use Instagram and Instagram's been great. Instagram is great, but you don't own Instagram. You don't own your Instagram page. Instagram could decide to, shut your page down, and you could lose all your followers and things like that. The same thing with YouTube, the same thing with Facebook,
Hmm.
any of these other platforms that are all great to do. But when it comes to a website, you own your domain, you pay for your hosting, you own your website. It's something that you personally own as a business. It's an asset, and then depending how you decide to use it, is totally up to you. Depending on what your goals are, how big you are, what your area is. It can be anywhere between from a one-page landing page for people to get in touch to a 100 or 200 or even multiple thousand a page website if you're selling ecom products or showcasing all the flooring products on
Hmm.
your site as well.
Well, so I think, if we're going back, right, we're about the same age. So you're looking 1995, 1996. I got my Netscape Navigator, like, 2.0, and not everybody had a website. It was new. It was the Wild West. It was dangerous, right? So we are almost 30 years removed from really when most of the world started getting online. And I don't
Yeah,
want
there
to.
is no excuse. There is no excuse.
There's not. I don't want to call your website a placeholder because that's not what it should be doing. But at the end of the day, if it's going to do the bare minimum for you, I think it does legitimize your business. People expect you to have an online presence, and so it's just one more way people can find you and search you. Getting yourself a website, at least at the bare minimum. You may not show up on the first page of Google, but like you can show up on Google. So you
Oh
exist in
yeah,
that space.
well, we can get into that down the road in terms of how to show up on Google and how to optimize a website for that. But uh, yeah, it's definitely more than a placeholder. It has to be because uh, it is a tool to generate leads, sales, traffic, depending on again what you're trying to achieve and what your goals are. If you are not trying to expand your network, you're not trying to get more clients, and all it is just if people are looking for information or your contact info, then they can go to your website and guess what? You can showcase your gallery, you can showcase your phone number, your work, you can have reviews of past clients,
Mm-hmm.
and that's great. If you want to generate more leads from other people, then you need to absolutely leverage a website to attract people because some people are going to know who you are. So if you're just relying on word of mouth, that's fine. But still, it's good to have a website because a lot of people are still going to want to search you to see what your work is, to see what other people are saying. They want to make sure you're legit, and it just makes you look that much more professional, legit to have a
Mm-hmm.
website, whether or not it's one page or 20 pages or 100 pages or 1,000 pages, right? Um,
Well, so you're
but
so
if you're
you.
trying to generate leads and traffic from people who don't know about you, if you're going
Mm-hmm.
beyond referral or word of mouth, then 100% it's important. I mean, it's absolutely necessary when you're talking about Google traffic.
Well, so there's the folks that come along, right? I've been contracting 20 years and everything's word of mouth for me. I got a lot of respect for that, man. That is absolutely awesome that you can run your entire business off of referrals only. I guess I'm just hungrier and I want the people that don't know the people that already know me. And so
The
the website's going to help give you that presence to reach more than this one specific audience that you already have, right? Your referral network's only so big. This is like the next ring outside of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the website is one component of that, let's say, digital marketing kind of ecosystem that you need to have in order to reach the people beyond those word of mouth. And don't get me wrong, like on my other business's website, we actually talk about that. Word of mouth is a great way to grow a business. And I close more word of mouth leads than I do, like referrals than I do cold leads for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? There's some months where I'll get 5 referrals from people, and then the next month there's nothing. And then some month it'll be the next month it might be two, and then the next month there's nothing. So it's inconsistent. If you're growing a business, having inconsistent referrals and inconsistent lead generation is actually a detriment. It's going to hurt you even more because how can you how can you plan for the future? How can you budget? How can you determine who you need to grow? What your projections are going to be if you have no idea how many
Mm-hmm.
sales or how many leads are going to come in. With the digital marketing, with the website, you can have some sort of consistent idea of what the traffic is going to be, what the lead amount is going to be, what the cost per lead is going to be, and it's going to allow you to really manage your budget better, to scale better, and just sleep easier at night, right?
Well, and so there's a key concept that I love, right? I think if we're talking about building a business, which that's what this show does, one of those key components when you go to sell is someone's going to be looking at you and saying, how do I know that your business works, right? So if I can show that for every $10 I put into my advertising, it generates $5,000 in revenue, or whatever the equation is going to be, right? For every 10, I get 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000, right? If I can find a way to make a repeatable system working with my website company, and my marketing company, where it's like, okay, look, we've been running this ad campaign. In goes 10, out comes 5,000. In goes 10, out comes 5,000. That's really attractive, right? Now I have something to sell. When you're talking about word of mouth referrals only, that guarantees me nothing, right? Because I'm coming in, you're Bob, I'm Kyle, and I'm looking at buying, Bob's flooring, but then Kyle takes it over and starts answering the phone. Bob's flooring, Kyle speaking. Well, where's Bob? I want Bob. I was told to use Bob. Well, I'm Kyle. I'm the new owner. I'd be happy to take care of you. No, we need Bob. Great. Yeah. So your referrals mean nothing to me now, right? Like I can't buy necessarily your referrals and your, I can't think of the word, right? Like I can't think of the word. I can't buy what you built essentially, right? Because it's all based on you. Whereas if I can show
like a predictable lead generation system, correct, or something.
If I can just sell, like I can show that Bob's Flooring, we can run this marketing campaign and it produces this kind of revenue. Bam, right? That's super easy. So I think that's what we're after, right? And I think that's where a lot of people are missing it. It's saying that it's a placeholder only, right? I can't buy that. You keep talking about being able to generate leads. So why should my website, or how should my website be generating leads for me?
Yeah. So again, it really just depends on the purpose and the goal of the business. So if you're just trying to convert more people who hear about you through word of mouth, then having a nice, clean, simple, maybe even 1 or 2 page website that explains what you do, how you do it, and why they should choose you, and then how to contact you, is good enough. If you want to generate more leads from Google search, from targeted ads, things like that, you're going to have specific pages for each keyword, each service that you do, each service area that you offer as well. So you're going to need to build that website out in more detail in order to generate that traffic, right? So, and you and I have talked about it, that we both listened to, Donald Miller and StoryBrand. At the end of the day, there's only so much that you can do when you're on a sales call with someone, and a business card doesn't do much either. A business card only has a certain information, but if the business card has your website, and then your website, they come to it, and basically you're immediately talking about the challenges that people are facing when they're choosing their floors, or how they are sick and looking. And I'm looking at my 40-year-old basement carpet right now that we're redoing in the next few months, and you're sick of looking at the stains and how it's ripping and things like that, and you wish you had something that was waterproof and scratch resistant and things like that. If you talk about the pain points and the challenges that people are facing, they're like, oh, they get me. I am one of those. I am really sick of looking at this carpet. I am sick of flooring contractors not showing up on time. I am sick of them, overcharging or giving me a quote one time and then charging me more afterwards. So if you can talk about those pain points and those challenges and those frustrations that people have when it comes to flooring and the services you provide, show them that you understand them, and then show them how you're going to do it better, you're basically selling yourself, using your website.
Well, so the phone call, right? If I can get somebody to call me, I can walk them through a sales funnel, essentially, right? We start real wide. Hey, how's it going? When are you looking to get your project done? What kind of flooring are you looking for, right? And we can start narrowing it down. Tell me a little bit about your project. Tell me about your family. What kind of product are you looking at? No, I don't think that fits your lifestyle. Maybe we should look over here. I can start working you down and making sure, okay, are you going to be a good fit for my company? Should I go out and actually do a consultation with you? What you're talking about is now I have this online sales funnel. I can start with, hey, here's our homepage. It's really generic and it answers a couple of questions, and then you can start clicking through each little thing and get more and more and more specific to where ultimately there needs to be a book an appointment, schedule a phone call, do something to reach out. But I now didn't have to spend 20 minutes on the phone with you because you spent 5 minutes on the website reading, watching videos, doing things to help me pre-qualify you before you ever even called me.
And that's a great thing. Absolutely. And we use those a lot these days, is basically kind of multi-step surveys instead of forms. So, typically a website will have, what's your name, your email address, your phone number, and, when can I get, what are you interested in? That's great, but then you have to hop on the call with them and qualify them. If you can qualify them online through, a four-step survey, you get the name, you get the email, you get the phone number, then you say, okay, well, what size is your house, and when are you looking to get this done, and what's your budget, and what are the biggest challenges you're facing right now, and have you ever worked with, all the questions that you want to ask people to qualify them. If you get them to go through that process, then you have all that info to begin with online. When you call them, they're that much easier to sell. And anyone who's not going to fill that form out, chances are they're not going to be a good lead anyways. They're just looking for a quote, right? They're just looking for the cheapest price. They just want you to call them back. So,
I'll argue that, but look, I don't
sure.
think there's anything wrong with having a price, right? I think maybe adding pricing to a website, if you know your pricing, like getting somebody at least a ballpark range, right? What's the average shower cost for you if it's a 3x5 tub surround versus a 3x5, tub conversion, like tub to shower conversion? What's a average cost of luxury vinyl flooring going in per square foot, right? Include a range in product allowance, and then what's the demo and all that cost. I think you could be very successful by putting pricing on your website. It's something that I'm going to be looking at doing. Absolutely. Because there are so many people that call, what's the price? What's the price? One, they don't know anything else to ask, but two, if that's what you want to know right off the bat, I've eliminated a friction point for you, because there's people, my wife hates the phone, hates it. If she can text, email, anything to like avoid conversing with people, it just makes her anxious. She's not comfortable. And so she's not going to make that phone call. She might even text and say, what's the price? But if it's already there, I've given her that information, right. But what else is she going to find on my website that now interests her and educates her to our process and anything else, how we deal with clients, why we have good clients, right? Are there testimonials up there? So I think the more you can help people answer the questions they're looking for, then the less I can get my phone to ring, the better, right? Like, I want my phone to ring. I don't even want my phone to ring, honestly. I want the website to just be sending me like, go to this appointment, and like they're ready to buy, right? They're like, hey, bring this sample of flooring with you, and we know that the price is going to be around here, and we want you to come out and measure it and let us know when we can get on your schedule. Like, those are the emails and bookings I want.
You have the tool. There are tools out there that would allow for that, right? And there's more and more people out there that are like your wife, that they don't want to pick up the phone and have a 20-minute conversation about something. They know what they want. They know the type of flooring they want. They know the size of their room. They know what they're looking for. And what they're looking for is, from you is, hey, do you understand what I'm looking for? Can you offer what I'm looking for? And have you done it before? And what do other people say about it? Do you understand me? Can I trust you? That kind of stuff. Those are the questions they're asking when they're coming on a website. So if you can show, hey, they understand my pain points and my challenges. Do they offer what I'm looking for? Great. Do they have a solution to what I'm looking for? Yep, great. Have they done it before, and can I trust them? Yeah, looks good. And then, like you said, with the pricing, I mean, there are multiple tools out there that you can kind of guide them down the funnel in terms of, okay, well, here's a pricing calculator. This is a range of how it's going to be. And then, of course, there's room visualizers as well. And they can add those products to the cart. So at the end of the day, you just get an email that says, this person's looking for ABC. They're looking for luxury vinyl tile in their kitchen. This is the size of the room. This is when they're hoping to install it. These are some samples that they want. very easy for you as a contractor to get back in touch with them and to sell them because they've shown so much interest already.
Yes, for sure. We hit on it a little bit earlier. I want to go. We're on topic, but we're going to stray from kind of where we're at. There was a comment about websites are dead, right? They're old because they're 30 years old. We don't need those anymore. It's all about social media, and you hit on it earlier that we don't own our social media, right? It's unlikely that Facebook or I don't want to say Twitter because there is a chance Twitter could go under, but most
Yeah.
likely not. Like it's you know, are these companies going to go away? Probably not. But there's also look, MySpace was the cool thing, right? And then Facebook came in and completely took over. We've moved from Facebook to it was like from Facebook and Twitter over to Instagram. Snapchat came out. There's a generation that's on Snapchat. TikTok came out. TikTok's the big thing. But it's also when you look at the longevity of how long these things are the popular thing, Facebook had a really, really good run. Instagram was less. Snapchat was even less than that in like being the big item. TikTok's now the big thing. Is it but is it for the next 2 years, 3 years? Is TikTok really going to be able to have a 10, 15 year run like Facebook has? So what else do we need to look at? Like why do I need a website besides the fact that I just don't own that real estate these companies can go under?
I say you need to drive people to somewhere. You need to have like a common destination to send people to, right? So a lot of people use social media to generate a buzz or brand awareness or generate interest. Showcase your work, showcase reviews, showcase before and afters, things like that. But if people are looking for more information, a lot of times they are looking for a lot more information because
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about that there's some people who are just okay, yeah, that's good. I'll contact you right now. But there's some people who's like, okay, well that's good. I want to see more. I want to see more examples, or I want to learn more about what they do. Do they offer this service? Do they do that? Can't show that on social media, at least not in a very succinct way. You can have your different categories in Instagram of the different types of floor you do in your projects, but then they have to go in there, they have to look for previous posts and things like that. Facebook, they're going to have to scroll through all your things.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a website to send people to from those platforms. And don't get me wrong, like we offer uh, targeted ads on Facebook and Instagram. We do Google ads. We leverage a lot of these platforms to drive traffic to back to a website. Because at the end of the day, the website is going to convert more because people trust that, and a lot of people want to learn more about what they do before picking up a phone or before filling out a form.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I think it's a very disjointed experience on the social media platforms, right? For me to go dig through Instagram posts or TikTok posts, trying to find the information I actually want out of you. Whereas with your website, if you're writing a bunch of blogs, there's probably a search function, right? I can type in my question and then I'm going to get an answer, hopefully. And I'm going to be able to look and say, like, okay, I want to hear testimonials. I want to learn more about the company's history. I want to see what services they actually offer, right? It's going to be a much easier experience navigating it to find my answer than it is on
Yeah.
social media to find an exact answer. I have a video on Facebook that's on my company page there where I talk about why you shouldn't install luxury vinyl plank over tile. Now, is it an option? Is it possible? Yes, it is. Is it my preferred method? No, I'd rather rip it out. And I have like a 10-minute video and I go through and I describe why, the pros and cons of each side and why I prefer to do it the way that I do it. And it gets comments of like, oh, this is great. This is exactly what I was looking for. But it's very rare because it's buried really deep down in my page from 2.5 years ago. You can't find it easily. Whereas if I were to put
Yeah.
that on my website, it would probably be a very, very good post to, you know, get some SEO content and then actually get people hanging out on my site, spending time there, investing in what I'm doing and educating them with.
Yeah. Like I said, if you're going to choose one route, if you're going to do one thing, it doesn't make sense to have a website without traffic,
Hmm.
right? Like it's kind of like that saying, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it to fall in the woods or whatever the saying is, right? If
Yes.
the website exists but there's no traffic coming to it, do you have a website? You know, um, if you're doing one thing, Instagram might be the one thing you want to do if you're just trying to have a minimal viable product. But we suggest using a holistic approach, an omnipresent approach.
Hmm.
Be active on Instagram, be active on Facebook, be active on YouTube. Have a serious website with all the content you need and all the pages you need to rank organically well in Google. Do Google ads, drive traffic to your website that way. Um, there are, many purposes for a website. But at the end of the day, like we talked about, I think the main purpose would be to generate leads and sales. And in order to do that, you're going to need traffic. So you need some way to drive people to your website.
Hmm.
And it could just be it's on your business card when you're going to networking events and trade shows. It's right there, and people are going to go type in their website and they find you, and it's okay, great. This is what they do. I really like talking to this person. I'm going to get in touch with them. But chances are you're going to need people to find you through other avenues and other channels. And that's where those other things come in. That's where Google search traffic comes in. That's where the social media traffic comes in, paid ads,
Hmm.
uh, guest posts, and things like that.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, if I can get you back to something that I own, I hold, then it's there's more value in the real estate I hold online, and I can control the conversation there. I can't necessarily control the conversation on these other platforms.
No, 100%.
So,
And
um,
it's not even the controlling the conversation. You never know when there's going to be some sort of technical issue,
mhm.
or an account might get frozen or might get hacked. Unfortunately, we've had to deal with that in the past, where we've had Facebook ad accounts hacked and they were down for 30 days. So if a client was reliant on Facebook ads, luckily none of our clients were, but they were down for 30 days. We had to create new accounts for them and we had to do that. So luckily they had traffic through Google organic search and Google ads and things like that. But if you're reliant on one traffic source and it goes down, whether it's your fault or not, that sucks. That's going to be hard for your business, right?
Definitely. It's very rare that we go and experience outages like that, but they do happen, and so I don't
Absolutely.
want to be at the mercy of somebody else's platform. I want to make sure that I can continue to generate a lead. I mean, the once again, you and I are old enough to remember, like, the phone could go down, man. You couldn't get phone calls, or there wasn't call waiting yet, right? And so you would just get the busy signal, and that was that. You couldn't get a hold of somebody, and so you know your friend Timmy's mom might be on the phone chatting with her favorite gal pal for like 2 hours, man, and
Yeah.
you just want to be able to find out if you can go to Timmy's house and play some Super Nintendo with him, and that ain't happening because you don't know if he's home or
Because
not or
Tammy's
what he's
mom's on the
doing.
phone. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So don't. Yes, I think you don't want to get stuck at the mercy of somebody else's technical problems. You want to have as much control as possible. I'm going to jump in here real quick, and then we'll get right back to it. Not all foam boards have the high performance that GoBoard does. Johns Manville has been producing rigid foam boards for decades for commercial roofs. What does this mean for flooring and shower applications if they aren't exposed to the same harsh elements that a roof is? If it's good enough for a commercial roof, then it's even better for your flooring, countertop, or shower project, especially at a reasonable price. Visit www.jm.com/GoBoard for more information. All right, I've got a comment here that says to remember what I once did. And I love this one, right? So, like,
Yes.
putting your work on a website is important, but it ain't for you.
No, it definitely ain't for you. It definitely ain't for you.
And
Yeah.
look, I mean, it is like I struggle to go through my phone sometimes, right? So if I have a website and it has like the best of the best for me, I'm probably going to be able to find it a little bit easier. But what are the benefits of having a gallery on your website along with all the other things we can do?
Well, there's different types of um, different types of learning, and people experience emotions in different ways. So some people will develop an emotional connection with your brand based on words. Some people will develop an emotional connection with your brand based on videos, and some people will develop an emotional connection with your brand based on images, right?
Hmm.
So you want to leverage all three of those if possible, so that you can attract all types of different people, right? So some people might just be, oh, that's a great headline. They spoke exactly to me. I want to read on, or these guys are for me. And some people are like, okay, I get what they do, and that's great. And here's the content on the site. But what at the end of the day, what I want to do is I want to see the types of projects they've done, and I want to see before and afters, and I want to read testimonials, and I want to read reviews. So having those things on the site are definitely going to be important. It's good for that contractor's ego and for their memory to like, oh yeah, I remember that project that I did five
Hmm.
years ago and it was great and it turned out great. But you know, it's also important to showcase that work to prospective clients and customers, because they're not going to know you unless they do know you, right, personally. So you're
Yes.
trying to get them to know you.
Well, there's a reason that we, as contractors, we constantly get hit with, oh, I found this on Pinterest. Can you do this? Or like, look at these pictures from Pinterest, right? Like, this is what I'm looking for. It's a very having a visual medium for your clients to connect with is very important, right? There's not everybody is a designer, right? So they want to be able to see, what is it going to look like in a room? What does it look like on a wall? How does this all kind of flow together? And so you can use the gallery to demonstrate that. I also think it's important. A lot of times we only see finished pictures. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that if you were to put up some posts where you walk through the steps you take to ensure a quality installation, because anybody can make, like, even with cruddy prep work, you can have pretty finish work. We see it all the time in the tile world, where showers are falling apart and molding and rotting from the inside out, and the prep work sucks, but the finish work looked okay. And sometimes the finish work just sucks, but like, it's harder to do good finish work over cruddy prep work, but it can still be done. And it doesn't show me anything, right? So as a client, I want to see the steps, I think, and I want to be able to understand that you're going to take the time and do the project right. So along with just the finished work, if you add in some stuff talking about your steps, your processes, how you get from point A to point
Mhm.
B, that's going to help. But with that, you can tag your photos, right? And so what is being able to tag a photo, you know, concrete floor prep, self-leveling Mesa, Arizona. Like, once I start tagging my photos with those names, what does that start doing for my website?
So meta tags, whether they're a page tag or a title tag or an alt tag, are basically language to the Google bot describing what a particular page is about, what a particular image is about, what a particular video is about. At the end of the day, the Google bot is looking in specific places for specific keywords, and it weighs the mention of keywords in certain places heavier than others. So when you're tagging images with these keywords and they're relevant for that particular page,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to help that page rank higher for those keywords. It's going to help those images rank higher in an image search, or if people are looking for that keyword, you're going to see the relevant images at the top, right? So you might come up higher there. It's going to help generate more traffic to your site. As you mentioned, there's some people who are just, the visual medium is really important to them, or they're looking on Pinterest. So if they're looking for hardwood floor refinishing work near me or in Mesa, Arizona or something like that, they might Google that and they might just go to images and see like the people who've done it recently. So it will help um, increase the chances of people finding
Mm-hmm.
your work by adding those tags for sure. And I do like the thing that you mentioned in terms of mentioning your process, because some people might just be, oh, I want it to look like that in the final result, but they have no idea what the process is to get there. So for you, to mention the process is going to be a good educational thing for them, but it's also going to prevent scope creep. For you, it's going to prevent a lack of expectations that were set at the beginning with a client. So when that customer comes, you're going to, walk them through the process, and you can say to go to this page and read it and make sure you understand that,
Hmm.
we're going to come in at this date, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to remove your furniture, and we're going to remove the carpet, and we're going to do the prep work and all that kind of stuff. So they have an idea as well. It's going to help you, and it's going to help them convert more as well.
Okay. So we're getting into a little bit of like SEO here, right? We're talking about being able to tag your pictures and things and make sure that you can tag your pictures in a way that are the questions people are looking for in your area, right? You can call them by the city names that you service. You can get into specific details of what's happening in the picture. So it's flooring installation or it's laminate installation in a city. You could put specific products in there. What other things are we really looking to build on so that our website is not a placeholder and it doesn't just sit there and it's actually helping us convert leads? When we're looking at what do we need to feed the machine, what do we need to feed
Yeah.
it, or where can we go and find what we should be feeding it?
Well, let's talk about what, and then we'll talk about where we can find it and how to do that.
Okay.
Okay. So, one of the biggest mistakes that I see websites doing still is that they either have, their homepage is optimized for too many different topics and too many different keywords. So they're trying to rank for everything. They have, they got their
Mm-hmm.
homepage. You look at their homepage title, it's like hardwood floors, luxury vinyl floors, laminate floors, floor installation, floor refinishing, all in Chicago or something like that. And it's like, okay, I'm sure you do all of that, but don't confuse Google. Don't tell them that you're doing all of that on that homepage. Your homepage should be related to one topic, flooring contractor or flooring retailer or flooring store in the city. Then what you need to do is you need to make sure you have pages for every specific topic, service, category, product category that you want to rank for. You have those top level pages. And then below that, you want to make sure you have sub-service pages. So when it comes to hardwood flooring, you would have a sub-service page of hardwood flooring installation, hardwood flooring refinishing, and then you might have the different types of hardwood flooring that you offer as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I call those topic clusters or silos. And what you really want to do is just plan out your website to build it strategically like that. So you're going to say, okay, well, what is my main topic? My main topic is this. Okay, and then what are the other things that I offer and I want to show up for? And then you build out those secondary level pages. And it's like, okay, what other things might people look for, ask about these things on the secondary pages? And those are the tertiary pages there, the sub-service, the sub-collection, the sub-product pages as well. And that's really the most important thing that Google is really looking for these days. A lot of the algorithms that have algorithm updates that have hit over the last few years are making sure that a site has topical authority. And a site that has topical authority is a site that's going to be talking about all those different things, that's mentioning all those different things, and that is properly set up where all those pages are internally linking to each other
Mm-hmm.
in a sense that in a way that makes sense to Google and that would make sense to a human, to a user. So if I were on a hardwood page, the hardwood page would obviously want to link to the relevant pages of hardwood, like the hardwood services, the installation, the refinishing, the different types of hardwood, or the difference between engineered hardwood and non-engineered hardwood, right? So you
Yeah.
want to have links to those from that main hardwood page because that makes sense. If I'm a user, I might be doing some information. I want to understand all the various aspects of hardwood flooring. So having links to those pages from the hardwood page makes sense to Google and it makes sense to a user.
Okay.
That's a big main thing that I do see is that they tend to not structure their site in a clean, succinct way that makes sense for the user and that makes sense for the Google bot. So you want to just kind of plan, and there's lots of tools out there. There's, a tool called Visual Sitemaps that you got to pay for, and you can, make one, or you can use Miro, which is like a mind mapping tool, or you can use something called Glue Maps. But mapping out the way that your website should look when it comes to those top level and secondary pages is important.
Okay.
And then you want to make sure that each of those pages is optimized, specifically for that keyword. Like I said, what happens when I do a lot of site audits is I see too many pages are optimized for the same keywords. So we only want one page that's optimized for that keyword, for specific keyword. Don't try to put your keywords on every single page. It just doesn't work. You're going to hurt yourself that way. So you want to clean up your site that way. Then you want to write blog posts that are related to those topics and drip those out every so often. So you're basically constantly adding content. You're feeding the machine that's relevant, that's related to the topics
Mm-hmm.
that you want to rank for, and that it's convincing Google that you are that topical authority.
Well, okay, so on being a topical authority, there's scary stuff happening, right? So Chat GPT is a
Chat GPT, yes.
AI is coming out, right? There's AIs now that you can work with, and you can tell it to draw you a picture, and it draws you pictures. Chat GPT is one where you can ask it a question, and if you ask it to tell you like what were the 5 biggest causes of World War II, it'll type you an essay,
Yeah,
and it'll
it's pretty
straight up
amazing.
type an essay.
Yep.
So, and there's other stuff there where it's getting into copyright because it's an AI doing it, and there's an old case in copyright to where a human actually has to do it in order for there to be copyright on it. So now AI is producing images and articles about things, and we can put them on our website, right? But my understanding is the search engines love unique content. I got a feeling the AI being the AI, it's going to generate a lot of the same stuff because it's pulling the information from the same places. So if I go and I start putting in, and this is what everyone's like, oh, I'll just get Chat GPT to write me blog posts now. Great, you can do that. But if everyone starts getting that same content, how is the search engine going to treat that blog post when it's found
Yeah.
10, 20, 50 other retailer websites or contractor websites?
So you're touching on a lot of things that are controversial subjects where there's some people will say this on one side and some people will say this on the other. In terms of the AI content, the best strategy when it comes to SEO, and this is what a lot of people in the SEO community who are using these tools tell you, is use it to generate content and ideas and then rewrite it with a human touch. Change things around a little bit so that there are some sort of unique things and it's not going to be clearly written by the
Mm-hmm.
AI or clearly duplicate content across all these different sites. So using these tools are definitely an option these days, at least until now. Google has said that they're trying to go after AI content in as much that they need to. As long as that content is accurate and helpful, I think that they don't really care. But if the content is just spammy and just being spun uh, in terms to kind of game the system, that's when they're gonna go after sites. Sites that are just going to be created with 1,000 pages of AI content within a day. That's something that they might take into consideration in terms of penalizing. Whereas if it's a local business that's just using AI content to generate some sort of relevant and helpful content for their users, I don't see that affecting
Mm-hmm.
people too much. And in terms of the duplicate content, at the end of the day, there's two camps on it. Google says that it's not that good. Uh, we've tried it. We've tried it like to have duplicate content on our own sites where, I think I mentioned earlier that you also want to have a location page for, each neighborhood that you want to rank or each location,
Mm-hmm.
where you're living. You have Tucson, you have Scottsdale, you have Mesa, you have Phoenix, like all in the
Great.
same similar area. So you want to make sure you have pages for each of those and then specific neighborhoods in those pages. So we would just take your homepage that's the exact same content for the most part and then just swap out Mesa with Scottsdale, and then just have a little blurb about Scottsdale and the average home
Okay.
price in Scottsdale, things like that.
Yeah.
Some unique content. So there's a way to do it where you're kind of making it a little bit more unique. And to be honest, there are companies out there that deal with dentists and flooring and roofers and plumbers and things like that, and they really just use the same content across all of their sites, and they do all right. So it's totally up to the client in terms of how unique they want their content to be. When it comes to these tools, I would say use them, but use them ethically, use them smartly, use them
Hmm.
wisely, use them to your advantage, because they're definitely going to be able to save time. But just don't think that it's a magic bullet that's going to get the job done for you without having to do any strategy or planning or mapping or keyword optimization or things like that.
Well, I like what you said, right? Get the AI to generate you some content, go and ask it a question, have it produce it, and then touch it up, right? Read through it, change things, reword things, give it a little human tone so it's not so dry, and then it's unique and it sounds like a person wrote it, and it's going to be make for much more interesting content on your website. So I like that approach because look, I got to write an article every month for Floor Covering Installer Magazine, and it's tough, right? Like even for me to come up with 800 to 1,000 words every month, sometimes it's a struggle, and I'm like, all right, what am I going to write about? Like what's the topic, and then now I got to start thinking through it, and so sometimes it's a struggle. So if I could just go and well, what about this? And then it generates me 1,000, 2,000 words on something, and I could start reading through and cherry picking things that I like or ideas I like and retyping them and putting in my own thoughts. Now I've
Mm-hmm.
got a piece that can connect with people, and it's going to perform a lot better than just putting that generated content out. Being able to do that is that what is a I mean, is that still really important, right? Is that the thing that generates us leads? Is that what Google's still looking for? Is fresh, new content and consistently?
Yeah, Google is looking for activity, websites that are active, that are sharing their content, that are actively promoting themselves. Yeah, over sites that might be stale and haven't done anything in a few years, for sure. Um, when I talked about building those kind of topic clusters, we
Mm-hmm.
used the hardwood example, and all those pages that would be underneath that topic cluster under hardwood. What you can do afterwards is then start sending blog posts to those pages. So,
Okay.
what are the different types of hardwood floors, or what floors are better, what types of hardwood floors are better in colder climates, and which ones are better with families or for pets. And there's tons of different topics that you can write about. What are hardwood floor installation tips, and what to look for when choosing the hardwood floor for you, or the difference between hardwood and luxury vinyl, or something like that. You can keep on writing these posts that are more educational, but the topic is relevant to the topic that you want to promote. And what we're trying to do when it comes to SEO is keep on pushing that relevant content on a continuous basis to those pages that we really want to rank and send traffic to. It's great to have a post about what are the different types of hardwood, but that type of post is not going to necessarily generate leads or business. But the page that is like, I'm a hardwood floor installation contractor, and here's my work, and here's my
Mm-hmm.
reviews, and here's a form to get in touch. That's the page we want to send people to, and those are the pages we want to rank, right? So yeah, Google is absolutely looking for that. You want to be active without being spammy. You
Yeah.
don't want to overdo it. You don't want to just write for the sake of writing. You don't want to write the same topic 10 times with a different way of putting it together. After a while, you're going to have enough content on your site that you are going to become that topical authority, and it's going to be pretty hard for anyone else to push you down,
Okay.
especially as a local business.
Mm-hmm. Um, I want to ask where else, like, I have an idea of where we can go to get the content needed, but I want to know if you have anywhere else. So obviously, if I go to Google and I type in, what makes a quality luxury vinyl plank, or how much does sand and finish work cost near me, I'll get some search results. But as I move down the page,
You're
eventually
going
I
to see
get to a
Google also
section where
have.
there's like similar searches, right? And then I can
Yep.
open those up and get answers. So if I go and I start writing content based around those questions, obviously that's what's being searched in my area. So it just gave me a ton of, oh, hey, write about this. This is what people in your area want to know. And then like you said, if I write the content and I do it regularly enough, I become the topical authority. So besides using the like super obvious, just go on Google and start typing in questions and seeing what else comes up, where else can I go and kind of find out what I should be writing about?
Yeah, so there's a site called answerthepublic.com that really takes those into consideration. You just put a topic in and it will show you like hundreds of questions separated by what, why, how, when, those question words, and then anything related to that topic. So, and it basically takes the Google Auto Suggest and questions that people are putting into Google, and it breaks it down for you. So you can download that list. You can say, okay, well, these are great post ideas. I'm gonna write about this. Um, these as long as you're writing on a consistent basis and they're pushing towards that main page that you want to rank,
Mm-hmm.
as I mentioned, then you're going to benefit from the writing that you're doing. And there's also tools that it's called the keyword. It's called the Google Auto Suggest tool. There are softwares out there that you can get that will show you results for that. In terms of understanding kind of uh, what topics you need to have on your site, what pages you want to have, support pages and things like that. When I was mentioning the hardwood example,
Mm-hmm.
um, a good way to do that in terms of what Google considers relevant entities and relevant topics is to do, a Google search for that one topic, hardwood, go to the images tab in a Google web search result. And underneath the images, you're going to see a whole bunch of different categories that Google is going to consider
Mm-hmm.
relevant for hardwood. It's going to say European hardwood and pre-finished hardwood and refinishing and oak and walnut and a whole bunch of different types that it's going to start categorizing them into different topics. So that's how I do my research in terms of, okay, if I want to make sure I have this topic cluster, these are the topics I need to make sure that we have pages for that Google is looking for. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to feed the machine. We're trying to
Yes.
give Google the information that it needs and also satisfy user intent. If a user is searching for a question, we want to make sure that we have a page relevant for that question that
Mm-hmm.
the user is searching for and that the answer is right there.
Well, so you can pay services to give you this info, but you can kind of, it's not even hacking Google. It's just using Google, and Google will tell you what it wants based on the answers it's giving you. Like, the information is there, folks. You can go get it. You don't necessarily have to pay a service to find out what the big question is or the hot topic in your area is. It
Yeah,
can
not
help,
at
I'm
all.
sure, but you can start getting it. The other thing I think, like, the big takeaway here is we as contractors get overwhelmed thinking this is going to take us forever, right? How long does it take you to do a Google search? 10, 15 seconds to type up the question and hit enter, maybe at the most. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to give you a couple other questions. You now have AI. You can go type in 5 different questions to AI, and in 15 minutes or less, you could probably have 5 to 10 articles written up. You can copy and paste those into a Word document, and that's one day, right? Let's say it's 15 minutes. Okay, so that's on Monday. On Tuesday, I'm going to take one of those and I'm going to read through it and I'm going to update it. 15 to 20 more minutes. So in 15 to 20 minutes a day, we can actually make a positive change in our business and start creating this content. And if you don't know what to do with it, You send it off to your web person and you say, hey, I made this content. It's about this. I need you to get it up on my website. They'll find a place for it. They know what they're doing. Let them do their thing. But it doesn't have to be this overwhelming, hours long. I need 4 or 5 hours to make a difference on my website. You can do it in these little bite-sized chunks very, very easily.
100%. 100%. But I want to be clear that the stuff that we're talking about with the blog posting and the searching for questions and things like that, important, but only after you have the foundation of a solid website structure built out first. It doesn't make sense to do just blog posting about random questions until you have those top level service pages. You have your main homepage set up. You have you showcase your work, your gallery, your before and afters, your testimonials, your reviews. You have a clear call to action and a way for people to get in touch with you. You want to make sure you have those pages set up first, because at the end of the day, that's going to lead to more business. It's going to convert more. Those are going to be the more important pages for you. And then afterwards, once you have those things set up, the foundation, then you want to start generating more kind of content, educational stuff as well.
The content doesn't function without the basics in place, right? We have to define our business and what we do, and then we can add the fluff. Okay, it's the extra, right? This is the whipped cream on top.
It's the whipped cream on top. Yeah.
If your website's not performing, here we go. Let's do like a real quick, like 5 minutes or less. If I don't feel my website is performing, how often should I meet with my web person that I currently have, or what questions should I be asking them to find out that they're actually a good fit for me and I should keep using them, or say, you know what, you have no clue what you're doing other than you can go operate a WordPress and drag some stuff around and type a little bit, and I need a new company. Like, real quick summary on kind of like, how do I vet somebody in this space?
I think that it's really important to distinguish between a web designer or a web company and an SEO or a lead generation company. Because often a web designer, and I've met many of them, who basically say, yeah, I do web design, I do basic SEO. I'll tag your pictures and I'll put the title tag in there. In a smaller market, that might work. But in a larger competitive market, it's not. You're going to need SEO experts who are going to do the things behind the scenes, not just on the site, but off site as well. You need to share your content. They need to drive backlinks and things like that. So it really just depends on what the expectations are set at the beginning. If they're saying that you're going to rank and you're going to generate more organic traffic and you're going to get #1 in the maps and stuff and #1 organically for these keywords, and you're not there, then it's important to have that conversation. If they're just saying that they're running your website and keeping it up, and adding new content when you give it to them, then that could be what they're supposed to do. And then it's just up to you, and depending on what your expectations and your needs and your desires are. So, like I said, it really depends. If the expectations are that they are going to be generating more traffic for you, generating leads, generating phone calls, setting up call tracking and lead form tracking and lead follow-up automation, which is something we actually haven't touched on yet in this conversation. So if a lead becomes a lead, then there's automated email or SMS responses to that lead that will help convert them down the road. If they're supposed to do that and they're not doing it, and it's not happening and it's not generating more business, you're going to know pretty quick. Because if you're doing all that stuff, you should be getting at least a handful of more leads every single month. And after 3 to 6 months, once that stuff kicks in, it should be dozens and dozens more leads and business to your site than before. So if they're telling you that's the stuff you're going to do, and you're just not seeing that increase, then it's definitely time to either have a serious conversation with them or look elsewhere for a company like myself or someone else that does the full scale digital marketing and lead generation.
Are there basic metrics I should be looking at? Do I need to be looking at my bounce rate? Do I need to be looking at how long, what pages are getting viewed, how long pages are getting viewed, like what's ranking best? Like, should I be having the conversation and asking for numbers instead of just saying, like, I'm not getting any phone calls. I'm not getting like do I need to be able to have a semi-competent conversation with you so I can hold you accountable? Like, do I need to have that minute understanding to make sure I'm getting the service I was promised?
Uh, Again, depending on what the service is that's
Mm-hmm.
promised and what your expectations are, yeah, yes and no. Because you could have a high bounce rate, but that page could still be converting really quickly because, hey, maybe it's because they're going to a page, the answer is right there, and there's a button to call you, and they're just calling you right away, or they're going to a form right away. And, that means that they're not spending too much time on your site. They're
Mm-hmm.
leaving because they're going to another site to book a call or something like that, right? So there might be different reasons for those things. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that your traffic is consistent. Your time on page is consistent. Time on page is good when it comes to like a blog post, because if you're writing all this educational information, you want to make sure people are reading it. It's
Yeah.
always a good idea to include videos on those pages as well. On your service pages, it increases time on page. And those are metrics that Google does care about. Those are user metrics that people do care about, because it shows Google that the person is actually interested and they found what they're looking for because they're actually spending more time on this page than not.
Okay.
So those types of metrics, I would say, are important. Traffic, time on page, bounce rate, things like that. Site load speed, I would say, is probably the most important. How fast is my site load? Because most people don't have the patience to wait, 5 to 10 seconds for a site to load. So if it's not loading quick, they're going to bounce, they're going to leave, they're going to go somewhere else.
Well, they weren't there waiting for like a 300 megabyte video game to download on a 28.8 modem 30 years ago. Those
Yeah,
people just
no, exactly.
they got no patience, right? Like, man, it
It's
used to take days.
it's a different thing. So yeah, yeah.
But
And in terms of like
I'm
your
with
top
you.
your top in terms of your top pages, that's also important to know, that because then you can understand, okay, what people actually care about. Or if this page is getting a lot more traffic, and you don't want it to have that much more traffic, then you have to understand, okay, well, how do I get these other pages to get more traffic?
Hmm.
So maybe I need to direct people from this page that a lot of the traffic is coming to these other pages because these are more important pages to me. So that information is definitely important. Uh, in my experience, and I've worked with a lot of business owners from various different industries, and including flooring. At the end of the day, they care about the bottom line. You know, did I do better than last month, or did I do better than last quarter? This quarter,
Hmm.
is my traffic up, or is it consistent? Is it steady? Did we lose any rankings, or did we gain? Is it leading to more phone calls, or an increase leads or conversions? If I'm doing ads, am I still getting as many leads? Is the cost per lead decreasing? And am I making a return on my investment? Those are the numbers that we're really showing people.
Okay.
Sometimes people do want to dive in deep into their analytics, and we'll look into that stuff. But at the end of the day, uh, business owners, like we talked about at the beginning of this podcast, they've got too many things to worry about. And at the end of the day, their job is to run a business and make sure that their employees, are doing their job,
Hmm.
and that bills are being paid and the lights are on and all that kind of stuff. So if the work is working and it's generating a return, a lot of the times the business owners don't care if it's from this particular page or this particular page or things like that, as long as it's
I
working.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just want to make sure that people know they can. You need to make sure that resource is actually working, right? And so I think what I want to add is you need to ask people where they heard about you. So when you pick up the phone and, Illustrious Hardwoods, this is Kyle. Hey, this is, Jane, and we're interested in doing this. Oh, yeah, Jane, I'd love to help you. Do you mind me asking real quick, how did you hear about us, right? So then she'll give you an answer, right? Was it through Facebook? Was it through a Google ad? Was it that an organic search? Like, you need to know where they got a hold of you to know that it's actually working, because your website may be doing a lot of things and it may be getting traffic, but if it's not making your phone ring, we need to fix that and make sure that we're getting people to click on the call now button on their phone when they're using Google on their, portable device, and it's actually making your phone ring, because if it's just there and people are going and bouncing off and they're not calling you, now we've got a problem. And I need to make sure that the website's doing its thing versus what I'm doing over on Facebook versus Instagram versus TikTok versus word of mouth, right? I want to know what is going on with my leads and my sources, and knowing, okay, I got 10 projects this month from the website. That's awesome, right? That's working. I only got
Yeah.
two.
Yep.
I only got two referrals. Well, I need to work on what I'm doing with referrals and increase that. And I need to keep the website going strong, right? This is how I'm going to be able to scale now, because I'm getting 12 leads. But if I can make my referrals better and I can get 10 and 10, now I've got 20 in a month. So if you don't have the information because you're not asking, you're not tracking, then you just, that's where it goes back to that. Well, they're just placeholders because you don't know what
Yeah,
it's
well,
doing.
and that's the first step. You can do it on your own. The second step is there are so many great tools out there that are relatively inexpensive that will set up tracking for you. That
Mm-hmm.
you can have call tracking numbers. It will tell you where that call came from, whether it was a Google search or referral, or from another site, or if it came from a Google ad, or it came from an Instagram post or a Facebook post or things like that. So um, if you have a web designer, a web developer, or a marketing team, and they don't have those types of tools set up, then that's a conversation you're definitely going to want to have. I mean, it would baffle me that they don't have that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, it's you know proof that the work that they're doing is working. And if I'm able to show you that every month you spend X and get Y in return, you're going to want to continue to spend X
Correct.
every month, right?
Yeah, I want my slot machine, right? I want my guaranteed slot machine. I want to put my $10 in and I want to get my $1,000 out, or whatever that conversion is going to be. You need to determine what that spend is for you and your business. But at the end of the day, if you can, let's not even call it a slot machine. It's the hose spigot on the outside of your house, right? I want to be
Yeah.
able to turn it on, right? I'm going to put in the money, and that gives me 5 minutes of being able to turn on the hose, or 10 minutes, or an hour, right? And I turn on the hose and it just starts spitting out water automatically. I want to be able to control that, right? So I know that every time I put in money, I get X amount out. And that's where the website becomes the powerful tool, is that now I can start
Totally.
actually tracking what is going on with my spend and how much do I get out of it. Because if you want to scale something, you need to know what is it going to take to get to that next level.
Yeah, and I think a lot of business owners that are skeptical about this stuff, or they say that the website is a placeholder because they don't have any traffic
Mm-hmm.
and it hasn't done anything for them, is because they just don't really understand what they need to do as a next step. A lot of people expect, oh, I got a website up, okay, there's going to be traffic coming, magical
Yeah.
traffic. It doesn't work like that. Unless you're in an area where you're the only flooring contractor or flooring company within 50 or 100 miles from you, then you're going to do quite well because there's no competition. But that's going to be very rare. So in order to compete, you're going to need to invest in different things. Now, if you don't have a serious budget, because a lot of the stuff that I talked about in terms of the SEO and building all these different pages out, the support pages, the location pages, the backlinking and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
that can
Mm-hmm.
be an investment. And I say investment because there's not many other business expenses that you have on a monthly basis that are actually going to generate a return. A lot of them times you're just paying and there's no return, but this is an investment because it is going to generate a return in your business.
Yes.
So the SEO stuff can be definitely a greater investment. But if someone is just has a website and they don't really know, it's not really working for them, they want more traffic, the things that I would recommend for them to start making it more of a lead generation machine. Once they get that story in place, once they show people what they do, how they do it, and how to get in touch with them, would be Google Ads, some Google search ads, and local service ads. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You can get relatively decent results for a pretty small budget, and it's pretty easy to run. So local service ads, if you don't know what they are, if there's people out here who don't know what they are, if you're doing a Google search, sometimes you'll see some results at the top that say Google guaranteed. But basically what you're doing is you're not paying Google per click like Google Ads, you're paying them per lead. So you have a daily budget set there, or you have a budget per lead that you're comfortable with. Say, okay, I'm comfortable paying $35 to $50 per lead that comes in. So you set up a budget. You say, I want to spend, I want to get 5 leads. So your budget would be $250 or so,
Okay.
and Google will show your ads, and you would only get only pay once you get those 5 leads. So it's a good way to start off for sure.
Okay. Love it. I'm going to cut us off there. There's more to explore in this. I'd love to have you back on at some point. We'll look at some other areas of website SEO, marketing, things like that we can dig into. So very much appreciate your time, your expertise, and just being a valuable resource to the audience. So, guys and gals, thanks for tuning in and listening. Once again, if this show helps you, go check out patreon.com/Floor Academy. Go head over to flooracademypod.com. Check out all the things we got going on there. I'm working on growing a couple of resources from books we've done as book of the month in the past. I need to get some information up about the mastermind. I've been getting inquiries about that, looking to try and start another group come early February, March at the latest. So if you're interested in growing your business and having the accountability to do so, reach out about that. And before we go, it's your last chance to make plans to travel to Las Vegas with me to hit the show floor at the International Surface Event. Our sponsor, Tice, has provided me with an incredible offer for you listeners. You can register now for a free exhibits pass with the code Kyle. That's KYLE. Registration is open online at www.intlsurfaceevent.com/register. It's all happening right now in Las Vegas. It's the 31st of January through the 2nd of February. This is coming out Wednesday the 1st. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, you've got today and tomorrow to come to Vegas. If you're within driving distance, come on out, dude. You're missing out. I'm there. Daniel's going to be there. Find us on the show floor, ask us questions, come get to know other professionals in the field. It's great for networking, finding out about the products here. So make sure you get out, go back. If you don't know what Surfaces is all about, you don't know what to expect, go back, listen to the episode from December where I interview Paul Trainer, and we talk about what to expect at this year's show so that you have the inside scoop on what's happening. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Daniel, thanks again for joining us, and we will catch you next week.